Ken, we made it. It's race weekend Daytona. We've got the Coke Zero Sugar 400 up this Saturday with, Xfinity and qualifying and all that fun stuff on Friday. So we got a jam-packed weekend. We had Richmond this past weekend. So we've got a lot to talk about. There's your podcaster cliche to start this episode of Daytona Motor Mouths. That's Ken Willis. I'm Chris Vanell. How you feeling, Ken?
Good. I was kind of chuckling at myself because as you were starting to talk, I was still fiddling with my phone, turning the ringer off. And I realized that about an hour or two ago, and this happens to me all the time, I needed to turn the ringer off for something. So I turned the ringer off for a few minutes, and the phone rang while I had the ringer off. So my ability with cell phones is 20 some odd years, going on 30 years now without any knowledge of the workings of them whatsoever, apparently. So
you're doing well.
So if it rings, you know why. It's because I turned the ringer off.
So. Let's start with Richmond before we go to Daytona full force. Austin Dillon gets a win for the second straight year. This one, I don't want to say last year's was illegitimate, but his playoff berth was taken away, his automatic playoff berth, because he caused some last lap chaos by pretty much intentionally wrecking Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin. This year, none of that. He finishes 2.5 seconds in front of the field. What do you make of Dillon's win?
Yeah, he couldn't have hit somebody if he wanted to on the last lap. Yeah. There was nobody in the neighborhood. Yeah,
maybe a lap car or two.
It reminded me of when you're young and driving home at 3 a.m. from wherever, from the library, and there's nobody else around. I got the whole road to myself. Me and those two cops parked over there in front of Dunkin' Donuts. But it's just amazing. I mean, it's weird how those things happen. I mean, there's been I think it was Kyle Petty and Rockingham. I think Kyle Petty had a thing for Rockingham. Morgan Shepherd had a thing for Atlanta. There's been drivers that, for whatever reason, just take a shine to a racetrack, and it was Rusty Wallace at Bristol, Darrell Waltrip a few places, including North Wilkesboro, I believe, or Martinsville, one of those two tiny ones. But there's certain, for whatever reason, happens, and that's his happy place. I don't know why, but I imagine he doesn't care. He's just going to keep. He just hopes it stays on the schedule. They used to have 2 races there. Now, now they only have 1, and he wishes they had 10. I'm sure. So,
your memory is unbelievable. Kyle Petty 3 wins at Rockingham.
3 of like 10 total, 8.
3 of. Now, if I was a good co-host here, I would have this already pulled up. 8 career wins in 829 career starts over 30 years. 3 of those wins, so almost half of them came at Rockingham.
Yeah, well, and then we can talk about Sterling Marlin at the plate tracks, at Daytona Talladega, how he appreciated them. Michael Waltrip appreciated the plate tracks, but those are different animals. That's, those are 2 guys that enjoyed the high stakes drafting. They enjoyed it. A lot of guys hate it. Some guys hate it. They're, since it's Daytona week, we can keep going on this. Some guys hate it and are great at it. Like, I think Tony Stewart hated plate racing, but he was second, might be second on the all-time Daytona wins list to Earnhardt, who also hated it, but he was really good at it. Of course, Earnhardt was winning summer. Go ahead.
He's second. Tony Stewart is second on the summer race wins list, not the 500, but in terms of most, wins in the summer race, he's tied with Cale Yarborough for number 2 behind David Pearson. That took me second. Yeah. Oh well, but Tony had the most in the plate racing era. Had the most 400 wins. Yeah, most Daytona wins overall. I remember Bobby Allison had that record for a long time, and Earnhardt just blew the doors off of it with like 34 wins overall at Daytona. Just nuts, So anyway, it's Daytona week. It's Saturday night, scheduled for Saturday night, weather permitting, and we might have somebody that wins for has won multiple times at Daytona, like a Denny Hamlin. Could be him, but could also be my pick, which we'll get to later, and it could be somebody we just aren't considering in the least, much like Harrison Burton last year. So, I got 3 things for you. Number 1, when I first moved down here and you told me about Dale Earnhardt in February at Daytona, not his 500 performances, but everything else, and his dominance in everything else.
Yeah.
It's like the most amazing motorsports fact, that I've ever heard in my life.
Him winning his Thursday, his 125 qualifying race, 10 straight years. 10 straight years. It's just phenomenal, But anyway, what were you going to say? What's number 2?
Number 2, the forecast looks okay. It looks okay. There's a chance for rain because it's August and because it's Daytona. It's going to rain at some point. You just hope that that's not during the day on Friday and Saturday or during the evening on Friday and Saturday. And the forecast from the National Weather Service says mostly sunny. So we'll take that, right?
Yeah, the problem with auto racing is on tracks like this, it can be mostly, great. Yeah. But one little shower and you're looking at, an hour and a half delay or 2 hour delay, whatever, depending on how long the shower lasts. But yeah, slick tires on asphalt, not a good combination with heavy cars. So, but they got them big money jet dryers, so it shouldn't take too long. And here we are talking about it like it's going to happen, but you just told me basically that it's not going to happen. Everything's going to
it's probably going to happen. It's August at Daytona. Number 3, and the final thing. This is my actual question to you. What's the playoff bubble looking like after Richmond? Because Austin Dillon, a guy from way outside the playoff picture, gets a win and steals a postseason spot.
The only 2 guys that can get in, there's 14 different winners, going to be 16 guys in the playoffs. The 2 extra spots, 15th and 16th, are determined by the point standings. If we don't get a first-time winner, another first-time winner Saturday. And right now, that's basically going to be Tyler Reddick and Alex Bowman. If we get another first-time winner, right now Bowman's 29 points behind Reddick. So he, unless Reddick is part of the big one early and finishes 38th, and Bowman can finish, in the top 10 and get by him on points. That's always a possibility at Daytona too. But it looks like right now it's probably Reddick and whoever the first-time winner is Saturday night. And if barring that, it's Reddick and Bowman. So, and by the way, both of those guys, it's not like they would be, filling out the playoff field. You've got some guys that won races this year that you don't assume are going to be factors in the playoffs. And I'm talking about Josh Berry, Austin Cindric, and Shane Van Gisbergen. And I might be overlooking somebody else that won a race this year.
Dylan?
That won't be a factor. No, Dylan. Yeah, Dylan. That's 4. Bowman and Reddick would both be their playoff odds would be better than all 4 of those guys. They would. I mean, Bowman's been steady in that, finishing in the top 5, top 10, an occasional 20th. He's been real steady. And Reddick's pretty. What is Reddick's in the point standings? I mean, he's top 10 in the points, and he's sort of hanging on for a playoff spot. So he's capable. You got to figure if him being winless at this stage of the year is sort of a unthinkable in a way. Nobody would have thought he would have been winless at this stage. So if he sneaks in a win somewhere, 2 or 3 more might follow. So, he could go deep in the playoffs. He's done it. So anyway, both of those guys would be somewhere in the odds of 1 through 16. If you're ranking the odds in the playoffs, both of those guys, if they both get in, would be somewhere between 6th and 9th. I'm sorry, I forgot 10. Let me do a little math here. They'd be somewhere between 7th and 12th on the odds board, probably.
Well, here's your regular season point standings. Tyler Reddick, 7th. Alex Bowman, 9th. Yeah. So they're in that top 10 for the season-long points.
And that fits right in there, my 7th to 12th.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're right on the money. Right on the money. You even could have stuck with the original 7 to 10.
Yeah, you're right. Hell yeah. God, I'm so much smarter than I think.
You're so good. How terrified? Let's put you in Alex Bowman's shoes right now. You're Alex Bowman. How terrified are you going into this weekend?
You're never comfortable going to Daytona or Talladega, and these days Atlanta. I mean, you're never comfortable. I think he would like his chances better if they were going to, if they were going back to a Richmond, or if they were going to Charlotte or Vegas or any of the, intermediate tracks. Even a road course, probably he'd like his chances better to keep a non-winner out of victory lane and to have himself have a really good chance to win. So I don't know if scared or worried. I'd say he's on edge, but I think they're all on edge when they go to the plate races. So it might be giving him something to take his mind off of the normal edginess. I don't know. Maybe it helps him.
Well, and I guess there's different levels of worried, right? Like Denny Hamlin has nothing to worry about going into this. He's in the playoffs. He's got a bunch of wins. He's got a bunch of playoff points. But, you'd like to win a race and you'd like to not bang up your race car that bad. And then there's probably 20 guys in the field, or basically all the non-winners so far, who are, with Bowman and on edge because they need this one.
Yep.
These
guys, the have-nots. I mean, the guys that are back there 18th and back in points, they'd rather be coming to Daytona than going to Vegas or Phoenix or somewhere like that, because they know they have a chance here. Michael McDowell might rather be at a road course, but I actually think he'd rather be here because he's always fast he usually qualifies really well. Of course, I was with a different team, so we'll see. I mean, I think he's fine. He's comfortable. He's so reminiscent of Michael Waltrip in a way that he's not only for his physical size, but the fact that he just is so comfortable racing in those big packs at high speed. He's won them, and he's come close to winning others and got wrecked there at the end, or wrecked himself perhaps. I don't remember now. I think a guy like him this is right where he wants to be if he has to win or go home. He'd much rather be here. Possible exception being Talladega, but basically the same, very much the same track, just some little nuances.
Do you have show and tell for us this week?
Yeah, to review, and my nose is itching because I've got into the dust on these T-shirts, and it's been brought up here before. Me and dust, we just don't get along, and I blew it last week. I was a week early. We used to do these commemorative T-shirts. The News Journal did, and sold them. We had a little shop out at the mall. Do you remember shopping malls, Chris? And
I think that was before my time.
Online sales. So we used to do commemorative pages, like sports pages, and we'd turn them into T-shirts or plaques. So last week, this is the back of the shirt. This is from the 1998 summer race at Daytona, and this was the field taking the green for the first ever night race at Daytona, right. Cup race anyway, and back in 98. And so I found another one of the commemorative shirts, and this one's not as happy an occasion, but we did this in the aftermath of Adam Petty getting killed in 2000 at New Hampshire, and we did a big spread on the Petty family, and got that. See it pretty good?
Yeah, no, that's really cool. And look at a young Ken Willis on there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's get a better look at him. There's Lee Petty, Richard Petty, Kyle Petty, and of course Adam, and 4 generations. And that story was supposed to turn out a lot different than it did. And so anyway, that's another one of them. I'm about to sneeze.
No, you did well with.
Hang in there. I'm a gamer. I'm not going to sneeze. Watch me.
Well, you started this entire NASCAR season. Weren't you playing hurt for the first 2 months? You had a persistent.
Oh God, the cold that wouldn't end. Yeah, it was a cough. Yeah, the cough that wouldn't end. So I'm still alive. I don't know. I wasn't taking a lot. I don't know what Hard Rock Bets had on that my over under for 25, but yeah, well, look at me, still going. Something to be said for youthful strength and charm, and not to mention good looks.
Well, it goes without saying. You don't have to say it. And your show and tell, I'll give you an A for that one, because it's not only kind of related to this race, or at least related to racing at Daytona Beach, but that was 25 years ago. So you're hitting an anniversary.
Yeah, and in fact, we got a story online right now on the News Journal's website about Richard Petty 50 years ago winning the Firecracker 400 for the first time at Daytona. By 1975, he'd already won 5 Daytona 500s, had won 5 championships. He ended up with 7 of each. That's good of him to make it easy to remember. He ended up with 7 titles, 7 500s, but he had never won the Firecracker 400, and he had finished second 3 straight years to David Pierce. I'm sorry, he had finished second 4 straight years, including once to Bobby Isaac. And then in '75, he finally won the July race, as he used to call it, at the Speedway, and it was quite a thing. And you can find it on NASCAR Classics. You can find the ABC coverage. It was part of their Wide World of Sports package on Saturday, although the race had been on Friday. And they tape delayed it and they cut into it. They didn't show the whole thing because they had to go to the World Lumberjacks Championship in Wisconsin. But I got lost in that footage from that for a long time, and it was great because you got a little Keith Jackson, Jackie Stewart, Chris Economaki. I can't recommend, if you're an old-time NASCAR fan, or even if you're not, and you want to see what things used to look like, I can't recommend that NASCAR Classics website enough. I mean, it is a deep catalog of old race footage. It's amazing. So anyway, there you go. There's my plug for them, even though they didn't ask for it.
And I can
they don't me any favors.
I could tell like the exact day you went through that footage too, because the next 3 days you started pulling out the Keith Jackson impersonation.
Everybody did it, especially college football Saturdays. Me and my friends used to walk around all day on Saturdays in the fall. We by the end of the day we didn't know we talked like anything else. We would just talk to each other in the Keith Jackson voice all day long, and it was quite fun. No, I won't do it here.
Okay. All right. I'm going to ask you an unfair question then.
All right.
And you don't have to answer this, but why not? Who's going to win on Saturday?
I don't know, but we're doing one of the things we're doing is our picks, our staff picks. So we got to pick somebody, and I went with the heart, and it's not necessarily the heart. I'm going for theatrics, so I picked Carson Hocevar because he would add a lot of spice to the playoffs. He's been the guy who's kind of ruffled some feathers this year, and I think he would add a little bit. He would add a dynamic to the playoffs. So he's going to add a dynamic to them if he's in them or not. He's going to be heard from somewhere over these last 11 races. So, and also I think I inadvertently came up with a nickname for him, Bumper Carson. Bumper Car Carson. I don't know if you like Bumper Carson or Bumper Car Carson. Which one do you like? I don't know. We got to figure that out.
Bumper Carson rolls a little more off the tongue, I think.
Yeah. Anytime you can lose a syllable, it's the best thing to do.
Yeah.
Bumper Carson.
Now, is there a way we could get both Hocevar and Stenhouse Jr. in the playoff? Like, can we do something where they both get in? I don't know how it would happen, but that's what we need. Them just banging around in the playoffs.
Yeah, and if we could really bend the rules and somehow throw sneak Kyle Busch in there too without anybody noticing, that would be fun.
There you go.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though. I don't know if you've made your pick yet in that picks file, but boy, I almost took Keselowski. I almost went with Keselowski.
He's run. I don't want to say he's run well the last 2 months, but it's a far cry from his performance.
Head and shoulders over all the bad luck he was having early in the year. He's another guy, by the way. If he ups and wins Saturday, does anybody up and win anymore? Is that saying gone? If he's fixing to win Saturday, he's another guy that I could see getting to the round of 8, getting through the first 2 cutoffs of the playoffs. I could see him doing it. So because he's been running in that second tier pack a lot lately, between
every race
and 12th, he's been in there. He's been there a lot. So wouldn't be shocked. And I tell you what, there was a stretch of 2 or 3 years back, a decade or 15 years ago, where if you were going to win at Daytona or Talladega, you had to get past him because he led a lot of laps at the plate races there for a few years. And of course that was a mini MINI lifetime ago in racing terms. So we'll see. I mean, it's not like he forgot how to run a plate race in the big draft, but that would be a popular win, I believe. If he won, that would be very popular.
I have
in
not
the garage, in and out of the garage. So
yeah. I have not made my pick yet. I'm kicking around a couple of names, but I'm going to quote you and give a spoiler alert to at least one name I'm considering, Alex Bowman, because to quote you, desperation sometimes leads to horsepower.
Yeah.
So you know, he needs it, and he's going to be desperate like everybody else. But, you know, if someone else wins and he doesn't get in, he's going to be the one who feels like something was taken away from him, you know?
Yeah. The only thing that adds more horsepower is the unemployment line. When a guy loses his ride and he's feels like he's auditioning for a new sponsor or sponsors and a new team, they do seem to find a little bit more horsepower. With that in mind, how about Daniel Suarez Saturday?
We saw it happen last year with Harrison Gordon.
Not a horrible pick. So,
all right, we'll see how it all plays out. That's Ken Willis. I'm Chris Vanell. This has been Daytona Motor Mouths, and we'll see you after race week at Daytona.
Right.